It's rollapitch, the show where we and a special guest have just 30 minutes to come up with the best new show you've never seen before.
And every time the bell rings, we have to roll a dice for new ideas that can make or break our show.
Now it's time to meet our special guest. She was the co-creator and head writer of Roots and Fruits on CBeebies, the BBC channel. She's the executive story editor on Slumberkins at Apple, and the story editor and developer on the Israeli Sesame Street. She's written hundreds of episodes and many, many shows, and we're so excited to get you the chance to dream up another one with her. So welcome, Bar.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Sure.
So, Andrew told me that you were born in Israel, and then after that you lived in London for 10 years, and now you're in LA. So how's your background shaped the way you tell stories now?
Oh wow, that's a difficult question. Do you have an hour and a half? I think I'll do the short version. The short version is I grew up in Israel. We only had one channel, and most of the stuff was either made in Israel or was bought from the BBC. So basically, we were brainwashed by the BBC throughout the 80s, thinking the best place to be 100% Anglophiles. The best place for us is in the fog and the smog with the Brits. So this kind of was the foundation. And then in the 90s, we started having cable television from America. I started having American influences. We had it before, but not in the same way. So the multi-channels and all that, and not just relying on public broadcasting, which is a little bit different, especially when it comes to kids. So that kind of started in the 90s. So I think the fact that I moved to the UK was partly because of that, just brainwashed. And then I got there and I realized that I really appreciate sunshine. So I was ready to move after 2 years, but then you know what it's like. Life happens, and I started working for the BBC, and I had kids there, and I made amazing friends, and it was fabulous. But Eldad, my husband, started working with America. So we ended up here eventually. I was ready. I was ready for a little bit of sunshine, and you can't beat
came
LA
to the right
weather.
place for sunshine.
Yeah, this is it. This is a good place for me. I like to sit on the outside in the sunbathe with my dog. So So my kids, one kid's got a British accent, one kid's got American accent. No one knows where we're from. It's very confusing for everyone. But I think it's a mixture, I guess, of everything. I'm very cosmopolitan, if you can call it. So they call me when I'm British. So they call me when they need someone who knows the Brits and been living there and kind of has the British vibe. But I'm not really British. I can still work with the UK and BBC. I'm still working with the BBC. I created a show for them. I'm writing a screenplay for Screen Scotland. So that is all thanks to my British citizenship. And I can do stuff, in America because I'm not really American, but I've been living here for 8 years. And my kids were part of, my little one especially, who's 10 now. She moved when she was 2, so she's completely American. Yeah. So it's great. I have a little bit of everything. So I guess that's what I bring to the table.
Nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, it sounds like a lot.
Well, I'm old. So, I had some time.
Awesome.
How did Roots and Fruits come about? Were you're co-creator of that?
Yes. Yeah. This is not a sexy story, unfortunately. Like most of the shows, I wanted to talk about that. There's most of the shows that are being made these days are based on existing IP. Which is great. Don't get me wrong. I love coming up with continuing a world that's already been created, whether in a book or an old TV show. It doesn't matter. It's all about creating and coming up with great ideas. And it's wonderful if you have this rich book or an existing show that you can draw from. It's so much fun. But I would love to see more original stuff happening because I think we're running out of IPs, so that's a shame. And B, look at the biggest success right now. It's Bluey. And Bluey is completely original. It's
Yeah.
public broadcast. So that brings me back to Roots and Fruits. Roots and Fruits is the original IP is fruit and vegetables. So this is the only place you can do stuff like that is the BBC, which I really appreciate. But the producer, I worked with the producer in a different show. It's called Teacup Travels. That was on BBC Two, and he had a friend, an illustrator, who decided to take like fruits and vegetables and add like googly eyes and funny expressions. He says, can you do anything with it? And it was like, I think it was the first week of the pandemic, with like the full-on pandemic, with the lockdown and everything was like, this is the end of the world. What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to come up with the show about fruit and vegetable dancing and singing, about their amazing talent. So it's like America's Got Talent or Britain's Got Talent, combined with the fruit and veg aisle in the supermarket. So, like, banana is actually a berry, so she sings an opera piece about it. And potato were the first vegetable to be taken to space. So we did like a tribute to
cool.
David Bowie, and it's like the music I did with my husband, that was an amazing experience because we
nice.
started out working together. We haven't had a chance to work together for like 20 years, and now we created all the songs for this show. So that was a great experience.
Nice.
Were you
Yeah.
guys married
And,
already when you were working together, starting off at that show?
No, so we
Okay.
met. This is becoming like this is your life. We met at in the army radio station in Israel. So writing jingles together. We worked together for 2 years before we actually got together. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So that the creative collaboration was there. It's just, yeah. So that was really fun to recreate it and do all sorts of like fun, parodies of like Elton John. We had the Pak Choi singing like this ballad inspired by Elton John, and it was so much fun. The music element in this show was great.
That sounds like a lot of just like you're able to use so much creativity of what kind of stories you want to tell or what kind of like influences to take. That sounds like a really fun show.
Yeah. I think we get a little bit more freedom with the BBC, but not really. I think it's just because there's one God, BBC, and they decide. Whereas
1, 2,
another
3, 4,
project,
5.
where other projects you get so many like executive producer and co-productions and people from all over the world, and you got the studio, and you got the production company, you got the original creators, and there's so many voices in the room, and it sometimes it works, and sometimes it's a little bit too much, and it's hard to kind of like stay in your mojo. So it was fun.
What are some successful and unsuccessful strategies you've had with pitching? Like what does pitching look like?
Now the pressure's on.
For 1
One
minute,
my
minute.
God.
what does pitching look like?
Oh
for
my
you?
God! So you gotta be a good actor. No.
Okay.
But I think the main thing is, and this is something I try to kind of like do in everything I do. Whether it's like the show that you're super passionate about, it's your passion project, and you've been dreaming about it. So it's going to come out. People are going to fall in love with it just because you're in love with it. But sometimes you got to sell some stuff that is okay-ish. You got to find that angle that gets you excited. Always like turn it and make it your own. I got to find myself, whether it's like I'm a freelance writer, I'm writing a script for a show that I didn't create, and I love some of it, and some of it maybe I'm not really into. It doesn't matter. I got to make myself like, I got to, be there. I got to be there. I got to make myself laugh, and I got to come up with something that makes me happy. And the minute you're there, then it's gonna transfer. Everyone's gonna see that. So, I grew up. My mom was a PR lady, so I know how to sell things.
Nice.
So this is the first thing I learned when I was born. So I saw her selling everything. This is PR.
Yeah.
This is what you do. You just you got to be excited. You got to find that angle. And sometimes there are like a few things that you can relate to. It doesn't matter, but you got to like genuinely be there and sell it because you believe in it.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to sell something you're not into. So
Yeah, I guess that makes sense because like that feeling is contagious, right? So you want to like spread it and
It's got to
everyone
be
else.
genuine. It's all about
Yeah.
relationship too. You can't fake that. Sometimes you jam with people, sometimes you don't. And that's totally fine. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you, something wrong with your ideas. If someone doesn't like your idea, it doesn't mean that they're bad. It's just, it's a very subjective field that we picked as a career. I don't know why. But you got to find the people that you truly have this like magical relationship, a creative collaboration. I love writing with other people and creating. It's all about. I wish we had more writers' room because we don't have them these days, and that's really bad because we don't get that opportunity. But like,
Yeah.
been collaborating. My best friend Natalie, who I wrote a series of books with, that was so much fun. It's like a time machine, going back in time to being like a 10-year-old and playing together. This is how it felt. I'm collaborating with Alex Rockwell, who is an amazing showrunner and writer and producer who used to work with Jim Henson from the beginning.
Wow.
So that is like a beautiful collaboration. We always make each other laugh, and when it works, it works. I think you just got to find the right people. There's so much out there. It's a huge supermarket. You're definitely going to find something you like and your people to collaborate with.
Nice.
So this is my advice.
Yeah.
I hope
That's
it
perfect.
helps.
Yeah. No, it's really like positive outlook on it. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would talk forever. We've talked a lot before, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, that's not this show.
That's
We
okay.
now sorry, we now need to move on to
Let's move on.
the section where we challenge ourselves. We've got 30 minutes. Just
Starting
like you
now?
were saying. Starting now, we're going to set a timer.
Okay.
With some fun interruptions in between where we get to roll a dice and see what kind of obstacles we might come across.
Oh, Patricia, I love your little carrot. You're so talented. Kind of looks like the carrots from Roots and Fruits.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I guess now we're going to switch over. As we switch over to the drawing and pitching section, we did have one last question, and I'm going to find it.
Find it.
Here we go. Okay.
Give me some opportunity to bitch about the current situation. I'm coming off
yeah.
as like way too optimistic and like happy.
Well, okay,
Time
so
to read it back to reality.
the animation industry is struggling. We're imploding, and the question is, what is a type of show that you would want to see in the world that they are not making enough of these days?
Yes. So I love this question. I can't complain now.
And we're gonna go off of your answer, and we're gonna try to make that show.
Okay, let's do it. I mean, I started by mentioning original IP, and I hope everyone is listening. This is like very professional terminology, original IP. IP just means that it's something that already exists, and we're adapting or doing like a spin-off or rebooting. Like, for instance, the Wonder Pets that just came out. Like I think it was like a week ago. Andrew wrote in this show. I wrote for this show. So this is like a reboot of an old show that was successful in the 90s. So I'm just explaining what existing IP means to anyone who's listening and is not familiar with this term. So okay, I'm gonna do it quick. I want a show that is not based on existing IP. Should be like original. Hollywood is all about taking risks, and I think we're not taking risks anymore, and we should, because it's about giving an audience what they might not know they want, and not continue to give them what they already have. So I'm mentioning the algorithm too. Some of the streamers are using the algorithm, and it's so different from testing your show with kids and getting the input. Is completely different. It will end up, I think the algorithm will end up kind of like, we'll feed you back what it's being fed. So it will be this like loop, and we're not going to get anything original out of it. What else? I mean, I keep telling people that whoever likes to like gamble doesn't go to Vegas. They go to Hollywood. And I only understood it here. It's amazing because it's like, it's better than gambling. You're always like, you're going to make it. You're going to make it. Just give it another year. Just give it. It's addictive. And it's crazy. And I think it's part of the fun too. So you got to take these risks and create something new, because otherwise you're not going to have the Bluey that, that we have and other beautiful shows. I think most of the shows that we grew up watching. But like in general, I love bridge shows because I think this is like it's like code name for we're not using primary colors, and we're going to have jokes for parents too. So this is always like my favorite place. Got to have comedy. We got to prepare the kids for the world today. So a little bit more resilience, a little bit more like quirkiness and edginess, and the stuff I used to watch growing up. I used to watch, like I said, a lot of like really bleak British television that left things open. They didn't feed us with everything. Not everything was resolved. Some things were like so weird, and they never explained why they were there. And I think we're programmed to always tune in to new things, because if we just, I know that predictability is great. It's very comforting, and I think it can coexist with other shows. So not all shows need to be like crazy. But it would be nice if some of them would be a little bit more quirky and edgy and dirty and weird, especially for kids. We need resilience, we need comedy, and we need quirkiness. I think this is and the bridge. This is where I'm gonna put us.
Yeah,
Bridge
it does feel like a lot of bridge shows now, when you compare them to shows back in the 90s, it's really like, I want to say like watered down, but it's just a totally different, there's less edginess for sure.
Yeah. I just feel formulated.
Yeah. And it's like, oh no, we can't hurt the kids. Kind of like.
No, let's hurt them. You got to start them young.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're going to go out into the world. Not just that. Like, look at the gap between the beautiful, wonderful, amazing world that we give them, like for preschool, and that when they're like older and they have access to phones and social media. It's overwhelming. It's insane. The gap between these two worlds is unreal. I'm not saying doing things that are too edgy, but we're missing. I think we're missing some elements that I think would be more interesting for them. If not, if we don't chew everything from them and resolve everything for them, we give them tools to say like, hey, the world is tough. Sometimes you gotta suck it up, Buttercup. It's okay. It's fine. I've developed a show with Alex, and the whole bottom line of the show is like, we can handle it. Whatever happened, we can handle it. It's okay. So I think that's important. It's an important message too.
It's okay
and not
to,
being
fail.
afraid to touch things that are not all tidy and neat and great.
With that, how do we turn that
with this
physical? What do we
long pitch?
Who are we
Edgy,
talking about?
Dirty. I want a dysfunctional family of cockroaches.
Oh, there we go.
Dysfunctional family of cockroaches, because cockroaches are dirty. They're like gross. Kids don't like them. I think we should bring more insects into and bugs on screen. I think it's.
I like
I
that.
also feel like they could also live in like a post-apocalyptic, because they can survive through anything, right? Cockroaches.
True.
So
exactly.
It
could be very grim.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I like that. That is so gross. It makes me feel gross.
Yeah, it's gross, but how do you make this, it's part of life. It's
it's true. They do have families too.
Yeah, they have families. Very big families, by the
Yeah.
way.
Oh no.
Like a lot of babies. A lot of mouths to feed.
That is true. So they can still be relatable.
What I think would be interesting is the stuff that they use these days. What if someone tried to kill them with like an organic roach repellent or something like that? So the parents are still there, but they're like completely useless. They're stoned to death.
Oh no.
So the parents exist, but they are the kids. So this is like this element of like a reverse relationship.
Where
the kids need to look after the parents. Yeah, because they've been hit by this organic thing that didn't kill them, just made them a little bit sloppy.
Oh, I saw My nephew was watching an old Rugrats episode where Tommy and Chucky, their dad, I think, falls down the stairs and knocks his head, unfortunately. And so then he starts acting like a baby. So then he becomes one of the babies, and they have to show him around. So kind of similar, but not cockroaches.
I love that because this is one of the like kids' favorite game, I think, where the parent all of a sudden acts like a kid and says, "No, I don't want to do that," or something like that. They look at you like, "Oh, there's a bug in the system. What's going on?" So it always like they love playing that and give them the opportunity to be responsible. It kind of like empowers them too. Oh, we're going to be the adult. We're going to see the world through your eyes, and it gives the parent an opportunity to see the world through the kid's eyes because it's all. This is all the point, in creating. I think good stories for children is just being in that state of mind, right? Of a kid, seeing things for the first time from a different angle, being silly, making fun of them, pushing boundaries, looking at things differently. So that would be nice. I like the parents that are like babies, basically.
That's a fun episode. Let's see, episode.
So it's like, would the whole series be them just being knocked out, or is that like just a one episode?
No, all
They're
series.
just-
I'm not
yeah.
sure about season 2,
Oh, the whole
but I think
thing.
season 1 for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
I like that.
It could be really fun if like season 2, they're gonna recover, but then it's just not gonna be the same. So they're gonna call that. Oh no.
That timer, what does that mean?
What does that mean?
We get to roll a dice and
Okay.
throw a cog into the, or
Some
throw a
network
wrench
notes
into
just
the cog.
came in.
Yeah, some network
Ooh.
notes just came in.
I love the network notes.
They always have the best notes.
Of course.
We roll the dice. We got an 11.
What does that mean?
Okay. 11 was episode with new art style, like stop it, motion or live action. A live action one where it's just a bunch of adults wearing cockroach costumes would be hilarious.
That would be fun. Or like a documentary where you just do like the voiceover. All of a sudden there are real cockroaches.
Oh.
We just have the voiceover of the characters like, oh my God, we're so gross. They look at themselves. You didn't tell me I looked like that.
With like David Attenborough.
Oh my god.
That would be fun. Oh yeah, I decided to kind of like do an episode on this particular family.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's a good one. I love it. We can definitely get a collaboration with the BBC on that.
Oh yeah.
I know
What?
some people.
With David Attenborough. Yeah. That'd be funny.
Yeah.
We'd be like, hey, we have a pitch for you. And it's an audience. Wait, he hasn't done preschool yet, right? Or Bridge? Like a kids show?
I'm
Or has he
trying
mostly
to-
done like.
No, but he's so
Nature.
kid friendly. Like every show, whether it's like the Blue Planet or like so many series. I can't even remember at the top of my head, but it's always like so family friendly.
Yeah.
It's we always end up sitting and watching it together. Ever since the kids were young, so it's great, and he's got such a great voice. It's so distinguished. It would be really fun if he would just kind of like describe this like dysfunctional family of cockroaches
I feel like
that
he
live
would have
in
a sense
cupboard
of humor
in
for
the,
that.
in the suburbs, yeah, somewhere. It could be fun to even like so this is a little bit like Fraggle Rock in a way where it's like a world within a world within a world. We could do like one episode where you see the people who actually live in the house with the roaches.
Yep.
Yeah, that would be fun.
I was
many
just
lakes do they
reading
have?
a book from the 60s, I think, called The Littles, where it's little people who live in a house where they have like a nice relationship with the humans that live there that they don't know. The humans don't know the little people live there, but they're always like fixing things for them. But then a new family moves in for a vacation and things go terrible, and then the place gets dirty, and then there are rats or mice and potentially cockroaches.
Oh.
And it's just a fun idea of like they're living in this world where there's definitely humans around, and so they interact with the human stuff, and sometimes fix it and sometimes make it terrible for the humans.
This is how Airbnb ruined the world. Right? They predicted Airbnb. I love the little skateboard. This is great.
I like with, like, you wanted a show a little bit edgier, and then with moments where things are unexplained or things are difficult, and because you put the kids in charge, where the parents are kind of now the kids, and the kids are the ones who have to fend for themselves.
Yeah.
That does feel like an environment where things can go unexplained, or things can be really challenging for them, and they may not always save the day or solve the problem at the end.
Yes, exactly. And like growing up, I remember watching some of the shows where, there were a bunch of them, and books too, where kids are left by themselves. It's the end of the world, and, the kids are there. It was Lord of the Fly. I mean, we're not going to mention that. Yeah. But there was something fascinating about that, because as a kid, you do want this like a brain practice of what it would be like to be in charge. You think you know what you're gonna do, but I mean, it's very complicated. We'll give them. It would be kind of like educating, but not in a didactic kind of way. So we just throw them in the water. This is it. The parents are not functioning. They're completely stoned on this little couch that we made out of buttons and I don't know fabric. Yeah. So we gotta go and get dinner. How do we do that? This is like every little episode is a new adventure. How do we pay the bills? I don't even know if they pay the bills, but how does it work in this cockroach world? I have no idea, but I bet they have some kind of like their own bureaucracy. Maybe there's a mafia, and they need to pay rent for the big mobster. Maybe he's a rat. I don't know. It depends. Ooh. Yeah, it could be fun, but we can create this like little world where they coexist, and it's plausible. I mean, we do have rats and roaches and ants, so that could be really fun to explore.
The seedy underbelly of what happens in your crawl space.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm hoping it will make, because everything is so pretty and neat and clean, so I'm hoping that by bringing some of the sewer, it's kind of like, bringing some of the sewer and the dirt, surfacing it up, would be interesting for kids. I think it's part of like the Ninja Turtles. I mean, they come out of the sewer, right? I think this is some of this stuff, but with a little backstory that is a little bit weird. You just grab their attention in a second. It's like, wait, they're coming out of the sewer? Yeah. Oh, maybe they will be more tolerant to I don't know, the little stuff in life that is not clean and neat, but is part of our amazing ecosystem. Mm-hmm.
How many kids are we thinking?
100.
Like 100.
Yeah, we got another note from the network now. No, it's got to be 2. They killed the rest of them. Oh my God. It's going to be 2. 100.
Because it could be like Goonies is what, 8 or 6, or like you can get up to that number, and then it starts to get like, okay, this is like a full classroom.
You know what? Let's just try it. Let's just do a different character each episode and break the mold. It's like you're not gonna be attached to any character. It's gonna be a new one at each episode.
You could be like,
this is it.
Whatever their name is, like, Eric got eaten by a raccoon last episode.
I love that.
We gotta continue the family.
R.I.P. Eric. We start with a little ceremony where they put him, and then I love that. That's so good.
We gotta keep going.
Yeah, definitely. This show will never get made, but at least we're having fun.
Yeah.
We'll Patreon it. We'll make it ourselves.
Yeah, the people will want to see it. Who cares what the network?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. If it's I think like if it's that kids are drawn to these things, and we kind of like preventing it from, I think.
Uh-huh.
They know better than us. They know that the world is not perfect and pink and great and full of furry animals that give you a hug all day long. Yeah, I like it. Some characters can just, die. Let's just try and do the same thing that, the beginning of cable TV did to like adult television. It's the same thing. It's just to surprise them. One episode is going to be a dream. It's like, one of the roaches is having a dream. And this is the episode. Yeah. That could be that
That's
special episode. Yeah. But
that's an interesting concept. Cockroaches having dreams. Yeah.
that's a new concept.
We just had another bell ring.
Okay. We
Let's
got
see.
canceled.
We
Just
haven't-
when
we
we were
haven't paid
beginning
for
to
the
have
show yet.
fun
We didn't
and
even
killing
get
our
to pitch it yet, and it's
characters.
already canceled.
This is like the
Let's
Game of
roll.
Thrones, but for roaches in preschool. Sorry, bridge. So we can kill some of them. We can hurt
15.
them. What?
We just rolled a 15, which now is...
What is it? 15.
Okay, so we didn't get canceled, but now we have to make a budget episode where we reuse everything. Which I've heard of on a show before that a friend worked on. They didn't have enough budget for animation, so they had to reuse... They had to go back to season 1 and reuse all the shots, but then put in different audio. I don't know if that's really true or not, but I've heard of it before.
You know what?
That sounds insane.
I kind of like it because I'll tell you why. Starting out like in Israel, I remember like watching. I don't know if you're familiar with the show, but it's called The Tweenies. That was like a puppet show in the UK.
heard of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really nice. It's a puppet show, and they had a few like I think more like close to like 8 sets, and it looked fantastical. It was amazing. They built all these like houses, and they went to the street. It was so rich, and we had to create like this sitcom. One of the first shows that I created, and I ended up writing like 150 sketches. It's like one segment out of like this morning show. It's a family of puppets, a mom and dad, a kid and boy, kind of like similar to Bluey. I don't want to, but same dynamics. Like this family getting ready for school in the morning, and we only had one set. So I love working with boundaries. I think it's great. I think it brings out a lot of creativity. How do you move the puppets? How do you surprise, the audience? How do you keep it, alive? How do you keep them engaged? And you suddenly like pop from the back, or you spread something out. Like, I love working with boundaries. So reusing stuff is actually amazing. We could do that dream sequence, like, we could do that dream episode where dreams are, anyway, like this puzzle of stuff that we already experiences. That was like our
Right.
brain doing some sort of like defrag and filing everything. So that could be that episode where we reuse everything that this roach, Eric, experienced before he passed away, unfortunately.
Oh no, poor
No, I'm
Eric.
joking. It doesn't have to be Eric. It can be Barrick. His brother. It's fine.
His like memories somehow transfer over to Barrick, and
But just to kind of like finish the story about the Tweenies. So then I moved to the UK, and I got to visit some of the studios, and they were like, "Oh, it was so difficult. We only had 8 sets, and we didn't know what to do, and we had to keep it tight." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, it's all relative in life. It's fine." So yeah, but I think boundaries are great. I'm happy. You know what? I think there's enough content out there. We can reuse all of it and recreate something out of it. So I'm fine with this note from the network. It's great.
It could lead to even more creativity with what just have the kids could improv an episode where they like, whose line is it anyways? They just watch some.
Oh, I love that.
Just make up whatever they want.
Exactly. Yeah.
Also, this elderly cockroach. I don't know how old cockroaches get, but I imagine he's like in his
interesting.
teens, but he looks
I don't
like
know.
that.
Yeah. Or the Davy Attenborough episode. This could be it too.
Oh, that could be. Oh, he's
Right?
there and he's pointing out everything.
You know what? I have a different pitch. Okay, what if
Uh-huh.
it's the same episode, but like in a different genre each time?
Ooh.
So the first one is like David Attenborough, documentary, nature documentary. The second one is like a game show. The third one is like this very sad drama. The fourth one is like the classic sitcom from the 80s with the music and everything. So we reuse everything. We just show that we kind of like, and we have a curriculum now, which is genres, different TV genres. No, I'm joking. We don't need that curriculum. But that could be fun.
That
like
sounds
that.
fun. Yeah, because there's a totally different approach in each episode, but it's the same story. So
Yeah. Exactly. Over and over again.
What do we name? Let's see. We've got characters,
Yes.
and it's a revolving door of characters because they're either dying, terrible things are happening, or there's just such a big family because cockroaches,
Yeah.
and maybe they all look the same, so we don't even know or care.
I love that.
What
That
names they
is,
have.
you're staying on budget. It's great.
We need a fun, catchy title that does not have to do anything with cockroaches, but it could.
No, I think the title needs to kind of like, if you, it's gotta have everything in it.
Uh-huh.
I was like thinking about like good title, like Back to the Future. Isn't like that the best title ever?
Yes.
It says everything.
back to the sewer.
Back to the sewer. Exactly. I love it. Back to the sewer. I mean, it's nice. It's got this like we came from the sewer and we're gonna go back to the sewer. So it's all good. I love it. It's all there. Back to the sewer. I think it's gotta have the cockroaches in it.
Like
Something with the roaches.
Roachorama. Roach coach.
Roachorama. Roachkill.
Roachkill. Ooh.
Terrible.
Interesting.
Roach Runner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's gotta have the roach. But Back to the Sewer, I think is great. I love it. I love it.
I'm trying to think of like roach. Yeah, because back to I always think of like rats when we talk about the sewer, not as much roaches.
Yeah. I think there was a show. I remember a show, something with Augie and the roaches, something like that.
Wait, that is a thing. Yeah.
Right? And it was really
so-
silly.
We already have roach shows.
Oh, damn.
We can. No, but we
Okay,
can.
let's start the podcast from.
This is us pushing the boundaries. They had to walk so we can run. We're going full steam ahead with roaches.
I think there's room for another roaches show. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's plenty
enough
of room
talking dogs.
Plenty of room.
roach shows.
They can fit into any nook and cranny.
Yeah, I think you just call it the roach show.
The Roach Show, yeah. The Roach Show is great. The Roach Show.
Yeah.
On the Roach. This is so funny because it's all like isn't it like therapeutic for you too to write for kids in a way? I think there's something in common for anyone who's like creating for children. I think we kind of like got stuck in a certain age. We're still trying to figure out something that happened. I think I got stuck at the age of 10. I think this is where I got stuck. But it's so funny. I had a terrible encounter with cockroaches in one of the apartments I lived in Tel Aviv, where hundreds of them came out of the bathtub. It was terrible. There was a leak and they had this like gap and they kind of like made their way in. I don't know. And it was so traumatic. I couldn't even go to the bathroom, I think, in my apartment. So my mom lived not too far. I used to go to the bathroom. I used to walk to her house and go to the bathroom for at least like a month. I'm not joking. Because it was so traumatic. Every time I went into the bathroom, even though they fixed it, every time I went into the bathroom, like, I had to check that there's nothing there. It's all clean. It's all great. It's all, primary colors and cuddly bears. But Yeah, it was. So it's funny. I'm just thinking, like, why did they come up with this roach show?
It makes it, the context makes it feel like more hardcore. Like you're basing this show off of this really traumatic event that
Exactly.
happened.
And you got to tell your own story these days. It's all about your identity, right? My
Yeah.
identity is like
You're like-
coping with the terrible
I
encounters I
survived
had
this.
with cockroaches throughout my childhood. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You're exploring the dark sewers of your mind.
Yeah,
of
I'm
your
trying to
subconscious.
overcome this traumatic experience and make them lovable. I mean, they deserve to live too.
Yeah. Now one of the episodes can be like that one time where we had to go up into a tub and the surface.
Oh no.
So,
Yeah,
Oh,
tell it
no.
from their point of view. Your,
Yeah.
Yeah,
your
for
point of
them
view
it was like
terrifying,
it
but
was
for
a terrible
them it's-
experience. It's like, what is this place? Why is it so clean? This is
Yeah.
terrible.
it was a terrible experience for them as well, not just for
Right.
you.
It's true. It's true. There's always two
Right, have
sides to
some
each
empathy
coin.
for them.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh. That
We
sounds so
have
scary.
the bell just rang for another dice roll and to say that we need to start wrapping it up because we're getting close to it having been 30 minutes coming up with this show, and I feel like we have something that we can pitch.
52 episodes.
Yeah.
11
Yeah,
minutes each.
We're going straight to the BBC with this one.
Let's
I think
let's do
they're
it.
gonna like it.
Let's do it. I love it.
But let me do one quick.
The world
to
needs to
see.
see a dysfunctional family of cockroaches.
Oh, this one. Never mind. This one works perfectly. It's 16, which takes place in the future. Which Patricia, you were saying that it should be a post-apocalyptic
Oh my
anyway.
Yeah, Patricia solved it for us.
There we go.
Yeah.
That was late. They had a lag in their Wi-Fi. They sent that 30 minutes ago, but we just got it now.
Oh, that is great. We are so good. We're on top of it. It could be really fun because I think cockroaches need us too. I think they thrive when we're around. So if we're not around, then it'd be interesting to see how they can survive. It's, basically, we're creating a show for the future cockroaches that will inherit the world
Yeah, it's going to show them what they need to do. How do they
after
make a
we're
mess?
gone. But it's for little cockroaches, so we give them tools to cope with life. You know,
Oh,
it's great.
Yeah.
Little
Yeah, know our audience. In the future, we still need to make some royalties, and it's going to come from cockroaches. They're going to have bottle
Of course.
caps that they
Yeah.
pay for things with, and awesome. Well, this has been a lot of fun.
For me too. Thank you. Thank you for this. This has been a support group.
Yeah, I did not
Overcome
expect.
traumatic experience from the past. Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't expecting to talk about cockroaches this morning, but it was good.
So I guess we can end with. So we have a show about cockroaches. We're gonna pitch it later, but for you, what things do you want to pitch now that you've been working on? We can end with a spotlight on you. What are some fun things? Where can we find your stuff?
So I mentioned Wonder Pets. Wonder Pets in the City is a reboot, a Nick Jr. production with Apple TV, and the showrunner is Steve Altair, and he did a great job. And Andrew wrote on it too, and it just came out, and it's such a cute
It's
show.
adorable.
It
It's
is
so
adorable. Slumberkins. There's another batch of episode. Ready to drop really soon. So be on the lookout. I don't know when. I think Apple are trying to sort out their family and kids channel within Apple TV. So the kids can create profiles and stuff like that. So I have no idea, but it's great too. That's it. And I hope that the screenplay I'm working on these days, that was the screenplay commissioned by Screen Scotland. And it is
Yeah.
kind of dark. It's based on a book called Knitbone Pepper Ghost Dog.
Oh.
And it's about a 12-year-old girl who loses her pet dog. He passes away. And then he comes back as a ghost with a bunch of other ghost pets of previous I think her ancestors. It's all taking place in this like haunted castle in Scotland. So
Ooh.
it is pretty dark, and it's like ghosts for children and family, and like in
Yeah.
tone it's kind of like Paddington, which I love so much. The books that I grew up on and the beautiful movie adaptations. Paddington 1 and Paddington 2 is just fabulous. So, so we hope to, we're polishing it and doing animation tests, so I hope this will come out one day.
Wow,
That
congrats on
sounds
that.
really.
That's
I would
awesome.
totally watch that.
Yeah, that's been so great to write. So I'm co-writing it with Sergio Kasky. Is another wonderful writer from Scotland. So it's great to collaborate.
Cool.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank
we're
you
gonna
for
wrap it up
having
there.
me.
Well, if this roach thing ever goes through and you need help thinking of 100 characters.
We have
we can throw some ideas at the wall.
Yeah.
I love it.
Thanks for watching. Have you gotten some funny network notes in your shows? Share them with us, and maybe we'll include them next time on Roll-a-Pitch.